VGC is supported by Patreon. Check out patreon.com/videogameschronicle for more podcasts, ad-free browsing, and extra content. Thank you for your support. I want to rock and roll all night. It's VGC the Video Game Podcast, episode 143, with me, Jordan Midler, and Chris Scullion. This week, Pokemon Legends Z8 is here, and so is Xbox's new handheld. But first, how's it going, Chris? How are you?
It's going good. It's been a week.
Yeah.
It's been one of those. Well, I'm sure we'll get into it at some point, but it's been one of those weeks that really makes you despair about video game discourse online. But we'll get there. But both of us have seen our fair share of nonsense this week. But we'll get to it. But other than that, all happy. It's the October break, so in Edinburgh at least they seem to split it up over Scotland. So the kids run around. If you hear any kids running around shouting, screaming, I promise you it's my own, and not some vagrant that we've picked in off the streets.
Is people really unhappy with the ZA review? It's October week here as well, because usually I avoid the wee shops around at mine during peak lunch hours, because I live right next to the high school that I went to, and I remember what bastards we were, so I try not to rock up in case I'm going to get called a fucking fat baldy wanker or whatever. But I went the other day and it was silence. I do. It's so cliche, but when you get older, like it's hard to transition in your brain out of the like, here are the dyed in the wool holidays I get every year in my life, and then when you're in like your mid-20s, you need to get used to the fact it's like it's over now. The music of the night.
There's no greater feeling than when that 6-7 week summer holiday period starts. And you're like, I can do nothing for weeks, and then.
Yeah, I still can't, like, for me, and I tried to keep pretty firm to this, I need a good break over Christmas. That's just one to me that's like, I can't, the world shuts down around Christmas in the UK, like, it's very kind of like, it's very kind of dyed in the wool, whereas obviously over the summer people like continue their normal lives, but when it gets to like the 18th of December, the 19th, you're like, I should be sitting on the couch with a rum and pineapple juice, watching Beatles Get Back and eating so many camembert that my lungs are brie. But yeah, it's one of those things. You got any drinks for us? I'm currently nursing just a normal Monster Zero Sugar.
I went back to Forgotten Worlds recently to get a broken console repaired, but they were very lovely about it. They got it exchanged.
They broke it even more.
They elbow dropped it from the top tier. So obviously they've got a selection of American beverages well there. So I picked up one which I've drunk once before. And absolutely loved it. So full disclosure, this is a Brooklyn original cherry lime Ricky. From the fine folks at Arizona, I believe. Which kind of, I don't know how you can be called Arizona and then sell a Brooklyn original. That confuses me. But it's a large can.
Well, Arizona's your fella who's always like, I like to keep my cans 99 cents because everything else is getting more expensive. And then it's like, mate, I've never been in a shop in my life where it's only been 99 cents.
So it claims to be, it's one of these ones that doesn't actually, I don't think, it does. It's a 650ml can. So we're past the half litre stage here, and
he's going to drink it all in one. That's actually a normal size can. Scullion's just very tiny.
It's delicious. It's your cherry lime combination works very well.
Very nice. Carbonated rather.
It's carbonated and presumably caffeinated as well. But yeah, also it's rocking pear juice as well, according to the definition. But sorry, I don't really know what a Ricky is. I'm assuming that's a other than a character from EastEnders. I believe it's some sort of style of drink in America. Yeah,
I went to get a strawberry Bianca, but they never had any. I think a lime Ricky is like it's a cocktail or something like that, or it's like, you know, these things that like a pickleback is like a pickle and a shot of scotch or something like that. It's like, fuck off, America.
A vanilla dirty den.
Yeah. Any more for any more?
Once you hit Dirty Den, you've hit the bottom.
Yeah. One for the kids there. This week has been pretty crazy. Obviously, two big reviews, Pokemon Legends ZA and the Roger Ally Xbox Dub Edition, so we'll get into those. But first, we'd like to thank our lovely season ticket holders over at patreon.com/videogameschronicle, where you can get more videos, more podcasts, and ad-free browsing. Specifically, I would love to thank the wonderful patron of the week, Tanner Santos. Now, Tanner came to us after being a surf champ for 15 years. I used to, your Bondi Beach in Australia, where everyone seems to drown every day.
Yeah.
Well, Tanner was the cause of that, because he was ripping such gnarly waves that he kept cracking people in the back of the head with his surfboards. But at that point, the president of Australia, Robert Irwin, son of the late great Steve Irwin, said, "Tanner, you gotta have enough. It's enough, mate. You gotta go back and do your video games."
It's also a little known fact that Tanner was the model for the surfer in California Games. During the height of the surfing craze, he got loads of sponsorships, and not even with the ones you would expect. Like Kawasaki sponsored him, even though they don't make surfboards. Basically all the sponsors who are in California Games on the Master System, such as Casio, all sponsored him as well because of that deal. He's sitting on a small billion, which is why
he was supposed to have a PlayStation kind of extreme sports game in the vein of Tony Hawk, but that bitch Kelly Slater took it off him.
Yeah.
So Tanner, unfortunately now, he's effectively penniless, but he spends his last pennies with us over at patreon.com.
Appreciate it.
/Video Games Chronicle. Greatly appreciated.
I'm sure at some point a prototype leak of Tanner Santos gnarly surfboarding on PS1 will leak at some point. We'll just need to keep an eye out for it.
Yeah, but if that's the kind of thing that you'd need to play on like an emulator or like a handheld PC, such as the ROG Xbox Ally X Xbox Handheld, Chris Scullion, give me the full title of this. Tell me your thoughts. How long have you had it? What's the deal?
I've spent all week trying to pronounce this bastard because I go online. Some people are saying Asus. I always say Asus.
Yeah, someone said Asus in a presentation recently, and I literally tweeted, I was like, what are you talking about? It's Asus. Everyone said Asus forever.
Asus was the guy who fought Hulk Hogan in the steel cage in No Holds Barred. But so it's the Asus ROG. I'm saying ROG, you're saying ROG. Xbox Ally X. Here's the thing: it's full of fingerprints.
Scullion's getting choked up. He was emotional about how amazing this bit of plastic is.
Ricky's kicking in. I really like it, and the thing is, all I've been saying since the reviews have started coming out basically is, but it's not an Xbox. They promised it was an Xbox. It's not an Xbox. No, it's not. It's a Windows PC, right? Quite clearly. And the point of it is that when you start it up. When you boot it up, instead of it booting up into PC, it boots up into Xbox right away, and you get your Xbox library, and then you can go into PC if you want. So, like we were saying earlier, this week we've both had full force exposure to the worst parts of fandom, because every time a new Pokemon game comes out, people are just ready to jump in two-footed and put the studs into it. Anytime Xbox does something these days, people are just ready to jump in two-footed, put studs into it. The reality is that if Xbox continued down the path it was going down, just making consoles to compete with PlayStation, it would be dying. They have to do something different, and this seems to be the part of it. And this isn't even the first stage. Everyone's saying this is the first step of it. You've been able to download Windows PC apps on your Xbox console for years now. Like you can go on your Xbox just now and search for Kodi, the media player app, and just get it instantly. It's the Windows version of Kodi. You run it. You don't have to hack your Xbox. It's sitting there on the Windows store. And because they ticked a wee box to make it Xbox compatible, you can play it on that. So playing PC stuff on an Xbox console is old news. The whole "this is an Xbox marketing campaign" was a load of old shite from the beginning. And we've agreed this multiple times, because on day one it was like, yeah, you can stream games on your PC. On your TV. I'm like, well, that's not an Xbox, and that's not every game. This is another subsection of that where it's like it's Xbox PC basically. So your console games don't run on it.
So do you think that the issue here is people took the first part of marketing saying, oh, it's an Xbox handheld, and they translated that to, I will get this, open it, and all my Xbox shite will be there?
Pretty much. But I think there's also a lot of kind of people, bad faith people, like saying that they were never going to buy it in the first place. I think, and this is maybe being a bit too naive, I think if you're dropping $1,000 on something, and this thing costs $1,000, which is one of the main downsides of it, you could do a wee bit of research. And not just drop $1,000 on it and go, wait a minute, I thought I just played Xbox console games. It's like, well, no, like, come on. Like,
it's not like the Portal that's £200 where you could understandably be like, oh, I didn't do the second part of the research and just thought it was like a PSP or something
Yeah,
like that.
this
Like
is
200 is not a grand.
No, this is a major investment. You really need to know what you're buying before you buy it. With the avoidance of any doubt whatsoever, this is a handheld PC. You can run full Windows on it and install any apps you want on it like a normal PC would. It's just got this extra mode where, and the good thing about it is it boots into an Xbox mode, but from Xbox you can then boot Steam or Epic Game Store or GOG, and each has their own kind of big picture mode, which you never have to go into main Windows to boot your libraries. And I think if that's what the next console is going to be, that's going to be fantastic, because that feels like to me like the only direction they can go now, because we've said this a million times on the podcast that the PS4 was the worst generation to lose, blah blah blah, because everyone bought a PS4, built up the library, moved on to PS5 and wanted to carry the library over to it. That battle's lost. So when PS6 comes out, people are just going to jump to PS6. They're not going to switch over to Xbox all of a sudden because they're going to say, well, my PlayStation library's here. But if Xbox can then say, well, what about your Steam library?
Yeah.
Do you want that? Because if the next Xbox plays Xbox games plus Steam plus GOG plus Epic Game Store, it becomes a different proposition. And
plus ISO files.
Well, if it's got like Windows functionality in the background, and you can put
game over.
anything you want on it, that's the only direction they can go.
Fuck your backwards compatibility. We've got backwards compatibility to every console for the last 30
exactly.
years.
They need to lean on
the
that.
The thing is, there's no appetite for two consoles that are like the PS6 and the Xbox 7 or whatever. Like, everyone will go in their own direction, and already are. Like, if the new Xbox is like that, you could justify having all three of them because they all do different things in their own lane. Whereas now it was always like, okay, you've got your Nintendo one, and then mentalists like us have both the Xbox and the the PS5. But I've got the PS6. Don't tell anyone. But it's much a muchness. It was always software based stuff, and the software fight is basically done. So I would be excited if that's what the direction for Xbox is. It's not in the news and the show this week, but especially the reports that the Xbox is going to be beefier, perhaps looking at that kind of, okay, we need to support these higher end PC games, whereas PlayStation are like, well, our studios really know how to get the best out of our stuff, so we don't particularly need to go any crazier than we plan to. It also
potentially gives them a lot of console exclusivity without even really doing anything, because you look at so many games, if this thing's got PC functionality built into it as well, this future Xbox console we're talking about here, you look at the amount of games, especially indie games and stuff, that come out and say PC first and consoles later, and if you're sitting there with this Xbox, you're like, oh, is that right? I just download it right away and start playing it. All the games that are coming to PC first only would then theoretically become console exclusive on this thing as well, because they can run them. So I think that's the direction they go. I think this is a good first start. The problem with the branding this thing as an Xbox is it's still an Asus product. It's not an Xbox thing. The Xbox team might have been working with them to sort out this front end, but to all intents and purposes, this is just an update of the previous ROG Ally that didn't have Xbox on it. The only difference is this new Xbox thing. So in that respect, put the Xbox aside and just judge it as a PC handheld. It's really powerful. It handles stuff really well. But again, it's a PC, so there's going to be lots of tinkering with it. It's certainly not a Switch 2 where every game is made for it. So there's lots of kind of compatibility issues, and sometimes games boot in the background, and sometimes they won't recognize an external controller. And there are a million different things that can go wrong with PC games, go wrong with this thing. But when everything's running like it's supposed to, it's really cool. I was playing Gears of War, the new one, whose name I always forget, at like 60
reloaded, dub edition,
something like that. Solid 60, no issues whatsoever. So yeah, I'm happy with it.
Good.
I wouldn't have dropped $1,000 on it.
Yeah, but, I was going to say the grand seems steep, but how heavy is it?
It's a bit heavier than the Steam Deck. I don't have my Steam Deck handy because I was doing comparison stuff. It's heavier than the Steam Deck, but because it's got these kind of handles,
I love the handles. I've never touched one. I've not touched that one, but that is like I moan about it all the time. I can't hold the Switch 2 handheld because my hands are fucking ginormous, and it really hurts my hands to hold it.
The Steam Deck's just a big slab as well. So I like the Steam Deck's lighter, but it's it's more awkward to hold for similar reasons. The handles in this are really comfortable, so, and it distributes the weight better. So yeah, I'm happy.
Let me tell you, see if Nintendo released like an official grips that were just this split in half to put on the Switch 2, I would give them £300 for them, because I'll tell you something, and this might sound insane, but last night when I saved my game on ZA to go to bed, my hour count was at 101 hours, and that's all been using the Pro Controller, and I'm like, this thing is magical, so I would love that. So that's good to know. So it's, how does the actual plastic on the thing feel? Because I was watching Kinda Funny's review, and I believe it was Tim or Andy who said that they didn't like the plastic and that the buttons were a bit clacky. How did you find it?
I mean, there's your button sound.
It's quite clacky. Yeah.
A bit of ASMR for you there. It's not as clacky as an Xbox controller, which is infinitely clackier. But it's I mean, yeah, there is a slight kind of cheap feel to it, which you wouldn't kind of hope for something of this price. That you do feel like if you push just thumbs right in it, you could probably put a hole in it. Into the plastic. So yeah, it's generally, it doesn't feel quite sturdy as you like. I don't like the fact that for the price of it, they nickel and dime you on a lot of shit. You don't get a case with it. Even the cheapest Steam Deck, I think, comes with a case. So certainly some of the Steam Decks come with a really nice case. They're charging £60 for their own case, but I've got like a £20 cheaper one ordered. The only stand it comes with is this. And it's made of cardboard. It's like you can bend it.
What?
It's garbage. It's not even plastic.
Cardboard?
It's like a reinforced cardboard. Like you can see me bending it here. It's like a reinforced cardboard. That's insulting, actually. Like the better just not putting a stand in it at all. There's no, or just put a wee kickstand on it. Like
I was about to say, does it not have a wee kickstand? No.
So there's lots of things you're going, that's a bit cheap for.
That would add £50 exactly. to it, that 1 cent of plastic.
Like for something that costs this much money, that's a bit cheap to give you a bit of cardboard with it and say, enjoy. So yeah, there's some aspects of it I'm not happy with, but by and large, I think it's a really
How's the bat life?
It's pretty decent. Like, again, it's a PC, so don't expect miracles, but
and mileage will vary depending on where you're playing.
Play like a full-on game, and you're talking about a couple hours. It's okay. But this is the thing that really needs to be plugged in for the most part, because it comes with one of those big 65-watt chargers. Even like I put my iPhone charger into it, and it was like, it comes up with a thing saying this isn't powerful enough, just so you know, it'll charge your battery really slowly, but you won't get the turbo boost. If you plug in their own battery, their own charger, you can activate a turbo mode, which puts usually it runs games at like 17 watts of power. You plug this thing in, it runs about 35, so it boosts the frame rate and everything. So it really is designed to be plugged in for the most part, especially because you take it on the move, suddenly half your stuff doesn't work because you're offline now. It's really not, it's not, again, like Switch 2. Switch 2 the games are designed with offline play in mind for the most part. Like the majority of Switch 2 library, you can still play offline. This thing, because it's all PC games and they're all designed with permanent online connections, DRM and stuff like that, a lot of them just won't have it.
This feels like you're sitting on the couch while your partner's watching Grey's Anatomy 100%. Type number rather than taking it on the train 100%. Kind of thing. Especially since it's a fucking grand. I'm not taking that on
especially because you can stream from your Xbox console to it as well. So all your Xbox console games, if you've got an Xbox console, you can stream to it. It's a portal, basically. It does portal stuff. You can stream to it. And also, this is the first time ever that I've been impressed by cloud streaming. Nice. Because just I don't touch Xbox Cloud streaming. I did it a couple of years ago. I was like, I don't like this, for all the reasons I don't like cloud gaming anyway. And obviously when reviewing this, I've got to review everything, so I had to test that to make sure it works and there's no issues. And before, when you start cloud streaming, you get this wee animation of a rocket ship going, and you're sitting there for like a good minute going, come on, while it tries to connect. Then it loads and it's blurry a bit, and sometimes it breaks up and it freezes and all that. What was it I played on it? I can't remember what I played on it, but I played it for a full hour. And when I started it, the rocket ship appeared and just went like 3 seconds, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
Booted, no problem. Played it for a full hour, 60 FPS. I think the new on Game Pass Ultimate, they've boosted it up now, so it runs at 1440p stream. Flawless, like the entire time. I was like, this is the first time ever where if a game appears on Game Pass and I'm not sure about it, I'll just stream it instead of downloading it to try it. Or obviously there's lots of games on Game Pass that are console games and not on, that you can't install on this thing. You'll be able to stream them through cloud, and for the first time I'm actually okay with that if it continues like that.
And I suppose when you're shrinking it down to like a smaller kind of display, it's harder to tell when it's kind of messing up.
Yeah.
Like I've done a bit of the cloud streaming stuff on my big telly, and you've always got an eye for it, especially 100%. When it's stuff that's like really high fidelity. Like if you ever, I really recommend, if you want to laugh, try and stream any of the PS3 stuff that is like backwards compatibility via the cloud. Like try and stream those Infamous games, and it's like watching a game made of fucking sludge. Like it's very not good.
It's always racing games as well, isn't it? Racing games are just, they never work with streaming because the compression is just garbage. But
I mean, there's a reason they've been using racing games to show off hardware since crack of dawn. Like there's a big baldy Phil Harrison coming out and talking about Gran Turismo for 45 hours. So yeah, that's good to hear. I don't foresee me getting one of these, mainly because there's no hole that it needs to fill. Like all of the things that it does is covered by other things I have. But like from a pure, if I didn't have Steam Deck or Switch and this was like my first handheld PC and I was pure into the Xbox ecosystem and all that stuff, I could see like someone, like it's a lot of money, but consoles and stuff are a lot of money. What's the PS5 Pro these days? £7 million. Like it's a lot, but the audience for whom it's aimed is used to spending a lot of money on stuff. So I wish it was like 800. I know there's the cheaper one, but like a grand is heavy.
Apologies for my child's having a meltdown in the background. I don't know if it could be heard, but you need to tick a lot of boxes before this is something you need to be getting. Like you say, if you're looking for a handheld PC, because that's what this is, then yeah, go for it. If you're looking for if you've got a Game Pass subscription and you're looking for stuff to play with that on the move, then go for this. If you're looking at the more dodgy world of N-Gage, this is ideal for that.
Not me.
I wouldn't darken its doors, but for those who want to go grim, this is the easiest way to do it because it's just a PC. So yeah, there's all those things. But again, if you just want solid gaming on the move, Switch 2 wins day in, day out because it's still got Nintendo still has better games. Let's face it. And all the games for it are designed with that handheld in mind, so the stability is infinitely better than it is on this thing. I've seen videos doing the round, slightly unfair videos, because some people are comparing this thing on handheld with Switch 2 docked, and it's not like for like. It should be doing Switch 2 handheld as well, but showing that stuff like Cyberpunk doesn't necessarily look better on the ROG than it does on Switch 2 because it's optimized for Switch 2. Whereas this is trying to run a PC game. Xbox says they're still adding some stuff to this later, like a new AMD upscaling thing is coming to this handheld later. So we'll need to wait and see how that affects games, because there's still some of the kind of top end stuff it struggles with, like Mafia. I tried Mafia and just about hit 30, dropping the graphics down a bit. Same with Silent Hill F, drop the graphics down. Microsoft Flight Simulator really struggles, obviously. So stuff like that. So they're promising this new upscaling thing's coming in a month or two's time, and when that kicks in, hopefully that'll improve those games. But if you just care about games, you don't care about which specific games, I would go Switch 2 all day long.
Yeah, and stuff like, I don't think there's many people that are wanting to play new stuff at absolute top end who would only have this. Like that doesn't track to me. Like surely someone in this ecosystem will have a Series X or a like crazy PC or something alongside it. So for me, it would be games that, the same way that I use the Portal, like either games I'm reviewing where I want to do stuff that is just like busy work. Like I played a lot of Death Stranding 2 on the Portal, and it was a lot of just like delivering my parcels. And I played a lot of Final Fantasy 7. What was the second one called? Rebirth. And it was just like RPG kind of miasma, as opposed to, I'm not going to play story missions and Ghost of Yotei on the Portal because I want to see that in the full whack.
Exactly. I'm sure it wasn't intended with this in mind, but it's going to become my Dreamlight Valley, my Disney Dreamlight Valley machine.
Of course, that is exactly what they were thinking it was going to be.
Sitting playing that on it because at the very least it runs at 60, which it doesn't on Xbox, which is mental. But yeah, so that I'll be using it to play that while the kid watches mindless YouTube shit on the telly.
Good. Well, review on the website, big long video on YouTube as well.
Yep, big long 10-minute video of me struggling to get off-screen footage,
shaking violently.
I mean, they didn't even give a wee TV out, like a convenient one. You can plug a USB-C to HDMI dock into it, but again, you need to get the right one Because I had one lying about, but I was only doing like 1080p 30 output, and I was like, well, that's shite. So you need to.
This is a hyper-specific complaint about the Nintendo Switch 2, and I think this was the case in the Switch as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the terrible technology that is HDMI, see trying to handshake an HDMI through a capture device to my telly, the amount of times where it would be like a Chuckle Brothers sketch where it's like, okay, the telly can register it, but it's not handshake to the capture device, so it's not on my screen, and it's like bang, 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 bang. And also, I had to turn the thing on your telly off. It's like match the power state of the console, because every time I was turning it on, then the telly would turn off. But then when I would turn the telly on, the Switch would turn off, and I was like, I'm going to go absolutely crazy here.
I finally got my setup nailed after years of trying. I don't know if you can partly see some of it in the background here. There's like cables going all the way down the back. It's basically, I've got my Xbox, PS5, and Switch 2 all in one splitter. I've got a Wii remote at the telly, which I can switch between the three of them. So
a Wii remote?
Wait, I actually do. But I've got a small remote control which switches between the three inputs. I've then got a separate input before that, which splits between the telly and my grabber. And then I've got a separate one here, which splits between my monitor for when I'm grabbing at my PC and the TV for when I'm grabbing while playing the TV. So I basically get 3 switches I need to hit along the way, and then every potential thing works without me having to take a cable out again.
What I ended up doing, and there's a question about this later, is so Elgato's got a new piece of software. I don't know how new it is actually, but it's like not their capture software. It's called like Shudo or something like that also captures. So I was just, when I was going to Laura's and watching the dogs while she was out and playing it, I was just plugging the Switch into the capture software and using it as full screen and using my laptop as my display and just playing it like that. And it's like 1-to-1. It's like, obviously there's no delay because the new Elgatos and stuff. I was like, this is pretty tidy. Although I did feel dirty, the visual of playing a Pokemon game on a laptop. I was like, I'm going to get firebombed. Like, there's going to be a brick through my window.
That's like if somebody was walking past and looked in the window and took a photo of you playing Pokemon on a laptop, they'd think you were being a deviant. I mean,
that would make me the only games journalist who pirated that game this week, the only one. Anyway, we have one more story before we go to the break. A sad one this week. Dead or Alive creator and Team Ninja founder and the director of Ninja Gaiden, Tomonobu Itagaki, has passed away. He was 58 years old. He joined Tecmo in the early 1990s and went on to produce and direct the first 4 Dead or Alive games, as well as Dead or Alive Ultimate and its spin-off Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball. My man, proper legend. He was also in charge of the reboot of the Ninja Gaiden series, producing and directing Ninja Gaiden Black, and Ninja Gaiden 2. It's a sad one, Chris. He's left behind I mean, that lineup, very, very solid. That's a proper lineup for proper gamers.
Yeah, it's a sad one, especially beach volleyball. It's a sad one that, especially because it's like we're a week or 2 away from a new Ninja Gaiden. Ninja Gaiden 4 is out really soon. And so it's really, not that he had anything to do with it, but it's obviously the latest in his legacy. Like Ninja Gaiden, the NES ones were nothing to do with him, but he was responsible for rebooting them and completely transforming them into what we know them as today. I've been saying for years now, and I've said it again on Twitter, Dead or Alive is my favourite fighting series, and not for the obvious reason. It sounds very much like saying I read Playboy for the articles, but you put aside all the boobs bounce. The actual fighting engine is fantastic, like, especially in the early days when you had, around about Dead or Alive 3, when kind of Xbox came out. When you looked at Tekken, the punches were very kind of static in Tekken, like, and same with Virtua Fighter. It was all felt very Rock'em Sock'em Robots, like the fighting. Whereas Dead or Alive, it was really fluid and fast paced, and it had a really easy reversal thing. You could punch people through walls, and it was just like, it felt more like a martial arts movie. It felt like Tekken and Virtua Fighter were like martial arts simulators, and Dead or Alive was a kung fu film. It's a shame that he's gone so soon. Like 58's nothing, and it looks like he knew it was coming. He must have had an illness, because the last picture he put on Facebook, he didn't look great, and obviously the message that it was pre-prepared and posted by someone means that it was expected. So yeah, it's a sad one. Sad days.
Yep, the mightiest God rest him to the big man. We'll be back after this. And we are back. Last night, Chris, as I do, played football on a cold, windy night in Paisley. And it's getting to that time of the year where the ball just becomes a frozen block of ice. And I took a full force shot to the kidney as I turned to try and block the ball. Couldn't have been a more perfect shot to my kidney, and honestly, it nearly dropped me. I was winded. I felt sick. I was like, it was so terrible. And it was one of those things that I was like, okay, I'm really quite hurt here, but it doesn't look like I should be hurt. So I have to kind of like
walk it off. Even
keel reaction here. So I just kind of walked away, like being unable to breathe. And people were shouting at me like, "Oh, get back into position." I was like, "Mate, don't even start. I can barely move here." And now,
sorry,
I turned. Last night I checked my back in the shower, and it was just a big ball print that will soon be turning black, which is great.
That's like I went to paintball once. I got something like that. Like you get various paintball related injuries. They all go. One and only time I ever went, I didn't want to go. But I've maybe shown my age a bit here, but you must have during your childhood experienced playing with a mould master on a red ash pitch. Is that?
Oh yeah. Like a mitre kind of deal.
Well, because these specific, I think they were called mold masters, and they were like large, almost like medicine balls, but they were footballs, and they just had like loads of dimples all the way around it, and that was the hardest ball imaginable to man. So even though it was like a normal football, but kicking it nearly broke your foot. It was solid. So taking one of them to the face in the freezing cold rain, and on a red ash pitch, which if you fell on that, your entire body just went red.
Surely there's no red ash still, because I was young, red ash was just going out. Like I remember, I think it was like Bishop in high school or something like that had the red ash pitch, and it was always fucking terrible.
They replaced a lot of them with that kind of bouncy synthetic kind of black.
The Astro.
The Astro's tough. The Astro, the black surface, and then the fake turf as well that became more popular. But red ash was hell mend it. I don't miss that in the slightest.
I felt like so when I went to high school in 2007, when I started high school, and it was a brand new school. It'd only been on a year at that point, around the corner from my mum and dad's place, and they had a brand new full-sized AstroTurf pitch that was like perfect peak condition, and it was like the best. It was the greatest joy of my life when I was like 11, 12, 13, 14, playing on that pitch, like full-size goals. It was always in peak condition, and they just left it open all the time because they're like, amazing. Oh well, people are going to come play football on it. But then BAMS started burning the plastic and setting it on fire and stuff like that, so it had to start getting locked. However, being ambitious youngsters and fearless as you are at that age, we just started climbing the fence, because it was like obviously the door at the AstroTurf pitch is like a big metal door that has like things that you could climb, like especially if you're a wee guy. That came to a grinding halt when one of the people that played with us climbed all the way to the top, swung his leg over to the other side, tried to swing the last leg to get into the pitch, just fell straight down, right on the shoulder, collarbone gone. It's God. So I think after that they left it open so as not to have to deal with injuries. A cavalcade of broken bones. And now when I drive past it, there's still always people playing on it. So that's I think good. It's still... it's one of those things that it's like, oh man, I wish that wasn't attached to a school, so I could go in and like kick the ball for a bit.
Schools have got ridiculously good like setups now, and it's like, you're jammy bastards.
Whereas there's nothing like outside, because obviously someone would have to pay for one to be outside of a school, or you could pay for a pitch, but are you going to pay like 70 quid for an hour on an 11-a-side pitch when you just want to like play for a bit, get a bit fit or whatever? So it's sad. What I'm saying is, I was about to dox myself there. I need better playing facilities. What has been a good playing facility has been my house over the past week, because I've been playing Pokemon Legends ZA, the new Nintendo Switch and Nintendo Switch 2 game. Pokemon Legends ZA is the second in the Legends. I keep saying spin-off series, although I'm going to tell you now, Game Freak and Pokemon Company do not count it as a spin-off series. I have some consternation to this, because I know that there's a difference between a literal spin-off series and the nomenclature of a spin-off series, but when I'm referring to a spin-off, I mean not the pair of RPGs that come out every like 3 years or whatever. So it's not your Scarlet and Violet, it's not your X and Y, etc. So it's the second in the sub-series, whatever. I'm sorry, Joe Merrick. I know that you know what you're talking about, and I don't. But so this is the latest one. Instead of being in the distant past like Arceus was, this is set 5 years after the events of Pokemon X and Y. It's entirely in Lumiose City, and Pokemon and people coexist with each other. The story is that you turn up in Lumiose City, and you're like, oh no, I'm in Paris. What an absolute fate worse than death.
3 out of 5.
And you're like, okay, I'm in Paris. This person comes up to you and goes, this company has basically been rezoning.
Do the accent. No, don't,
hello.
Don't do the accent.
This company's been rezoning areas of Lumios to give them back to wild Pokemon. It's like we're trying to make Pokemon and people live together, but we're segmenting them off at the minute. Go and become a Pokemon trainer, and at night we do this thing called the ZA Royale, where we all battle against each other, etc. and so on. I kind of don't want to. There's a bit more that I can't really talk about, but as it progresses, it's like, some of these Pokemon in the wild have become rogue Mega Evolved Pokemon and are threatening to kill everyone. So can you deal with that? Random, seemingly 15-year-old, you're like, oh, well, fine. If it's all down to me. Usual Pokemon stuff progresses. The first thing I'd like to say is the story in this is way better than the stories usually are. Like, the stories are typically good beats evil, very normal, kind of like, this is a moral tale that a literal 5-year-old could understand, whereas this is like, it serves as a sequel to X and Y, not only because there's tons of characters from those games that come back, but there's also references to what happened there. This is like a game that's set after the actual story of X and Y, and there's a lot of people being like, yeah, see the thing that the bad team did in X and Y? I know you like caught the legendaries, then closed your 3DS and never played it again, but we've been fucked. Like, our whole city's been like in a really bad way since this all went down, so it's like really interesting to see them revisit that, because with the generations of Pokemon, they do their story and then that's it. Mm-hmm. And then when they do a new game, it's a completely different area. So it's interesting to see that kind of being affected. The biggest change that people will notice is the battling system. It's real time. Your Pokemon and you move about at the same time. You target Pokemon with L2 and you use the face buttons to do your attacks. Attacks have cooldowns, attacks have speed, attacks have a range, kind of an area of effect. So Pikachu's Iron Tail only attacks Pokemon directly in front of it, but it's really strong, whereas something like Surf is less strong, but it's a massive wave that goes across the whole battlefield.
Not to alarm Andy if he's listening, but this sounds a hell of a lot like Xenoblade.
So unfortunately, I did get a lot of comments saying that Pokemon Legends ZA is like a gateway drug to Xenoblade, and that really made me upset, because I was like, I'm not going down that road. But yeah, it seems that there are similarities between the two. But yeah, I absolutely loved it. It's like, in many ways, it's kind of my perfect Pokemon game. It changes the battling system in such a way that I've done 525 battles now on my road to my shiny charm, and I'm not bored of it yet. As I said, I've put over 100 hours in it. I've completed the Pokedex. I've completed the Mega Pokedex. I've done basically everything there is to do in this game, and I just think it's brilliant. Like, I was reading the reviews, obviously, because we came in very high on it, and a lot of places were like middling or like positive, and I was like, I can basically see all of the reactions to this and understand them and be like, yeah, I could see how someone could come down on this. The thing for me is it's a real love letter to the fanboys. Like, there's so many references and stuff like that in it that verge on the stuff that you wouldn't think Pokemon would put in one of their own games. Like, it's kind of, there's jokes about Pokemon itself as a franchise. There's jokes about some of the decisions Pokemon have made in the past. Like, it's very, very self-referential in a way that I was kind of shocked about.
Is there a joke about Jinx's character design?
I mean, it's like a step before that. Like, it really does kind of get to that point. Like, there's a whole side quest where a character's like, do you know that back in the day you used to do this thing called Sky Battles? I wish they would bring Sky Battles back. And Sky Battles is this big controversy in the Pokemon community, where on the 3DS for Omega Sapphire and the Ruby and Sapphire remakes and X and Y, they would do these Sky Battles where flying Pokemon could battle in the sky, so they all had flying animations. However, the flying Pokemon would also have those flying animations on the ground, and you've probably seen the memes of like, why is this Wingull just like completely static, floating, doesn't flap its wings? And it became this big like stick to beat Game Freak with it. It was like, you did this thing and then you've just left it for 10 years and not done anything with it and not changed any of the animations. So stuff like that, it's like, okay, they're really kind of, this is a company that is in a position of absolute power. Like, they can do whatever they want. So yeah, I loved all that stuff. There's so much to do in it. The main story is like 25 hours, and then there's 118 side missions. The side missions they'll verge from, I'm a hairstylist in Lumiose City. Can you bring me Furfrou, which is a Pokemon that you can change its haircut, and I'll show you all the haircuts. Or, I'd love to do a battle with Mega Camerupt. Can you bring me one of those? Some of them are slightly more involved, but it's stuff like that. It's all kind of slice of life stuff. So
I can't get in my car. Could you go and find me that one shaped like a set of car keys?
Quite literally, that could be a side quest. Klefki gets a great moment in this. He's a real hero at some point. There's literally a quest where it's like, well, we're down in this area that I won't talk about, and there's a gate here that we can't get through. It seems like a key should go in here. Is there anything that could help us? And then
I'm livid.
A comedy angle of a Klefki just floating past that goes like that.
I'm livid. But yeah, I'm already picturing the tasks in my head. Like, oh, the council takes the bins out tomorrow. Can you go and find Trubbish for me?
You literally find in the world Trubbish is by the bins, just looking at you.
As it should be. It should be in the bin.
Yeah, love Trubbish. Nice wee guy.
Prick.
He's just got a swagger to him. So yeah, the
Unearned.
wild zones so there's Pokemon in the wild zones, and there's also Pokemon just floating about the city, which I thought was a great decision. I was worried that you would only be able to catch Pokemon in the wild zones, but they make sense when they're out in the city. Like, you can catch Trubbish, they're the bins. Pidgey is a pigeon, so it's like it's sitting on lampposts, it's like in kind of clusters on the ground and stuff like that. Precisely. The Flabébé, which is like a kind of daisy Pokemon, is in flower beds, all that kind of stuff. Whereas the wild zones are more involved, kind of Pokemon that wouldn't necessarily make sense just floating about the city, because people would be like, why is this Haunter like flying around the city? Although Ghastly can be found like in little areas like that. So it feels like the anime. Like if you watched the anime back in the day, and you remember Ash would turn up to a city and they'd go, oh, and they'd like look through and it'd show you the life of Pokemon and people living together. And you would come in the anime, they would come across one Pokemon floating about the city and go, oh, that's quite rare. How do you get that? It recreates that. So I think it's absolutely nailed it. I received my first Blue Sky hate message last night, which was quite amazing. I have my DMs set to like anyone can DM me, but it gets caught by chat requests, and I saw a chat request and it was like something along the line of, I respect your opinion, but, and then I opened it and it was honestly about 900 words just calling me a bastard about this review, and I was just like, okay, that's fine, mate. And they're coming after her. They're like, I don't know how you have this job and stuff like that. And my reaction is always, you go and do it then, mate. you go and become a games critic. Exactly. I beg of you, because becoming a games critic is like, it's harder to become it's more likely you become a Premier League footballer than it is become a full-time employed games critic. So I love
when they open with that, I respect your opinion or something like that. As if that's the shield that protects them from the.
It's like saying no offense.
I know, no offense, but like I hope every member of your family. But it's just, yeah, like I said, both of us have got, because I got my fair share of it for the Xbox review as well, because there's some people who just don't want to see Xbox do well just now. Just like there are some people exactly like you. You change your green lighting, by the way. Just like there are people who will just not accept any Pokemon game being good, because the narrative is that Game Freak doesn't try anymore, and anything that suggests this one's good, that doesn't fit their narrative.
Impossible.
So like, no, they're lazy. I've seen people going, oh, look at this animation. It's like, yeah. So what?
Cool, mate.
And it's like, oh, but well, I saw somebody going, somebody was doing like a video of the Rogue Ally the other day, just a clip from it, saying, look at this, I was playing this game and I fell through the floor, and it was like, aye, like that happens in games. That's a video game thing, that's not an Xbox thing. And it's like people are desperate to try and find ways to fit. Just see if you fancy it, get it. See if you don't fancy it, get something else. The end.
People need to understand that reviews aren't a system wherein we take away and add points for good and bad things. Yeah. It's not, okay, well, this has flat balcony textures, so that takes like 0.2 of the score down. So when I do all this math problem, I spit out the score. The score is a vibe, and it's the least important thing ever. Like, it's just it's an at a glance look at what this person thinks about this game. It is not gospel.
I hate putting scores on the end of a game, but when I do it, and I've said this for years, this is the way I always quantify it in my head is if I was in the pub with somebody and they asked me, is this game any good? How enthusiastic would I be when I tell them how good it is?
Yeah.
If I'm like, mate, you need to get this. This is an amazing game. Then that's a 5. If it's like, it's really good, you should really try it out, that's a 4. So the way I would respond to people is, to me, the score I would give it. I'm not going to give a game a 5. I'm not going to sit in the pub with somebody and say, mate, this game's amazing. See the balcony textures, you're going to hate them.
Yeah.
But it doesn't come
It's also totally contextual. It's like, people know how much I love Pokemon. People know that I'm a massive Pokemon fan. So this is a review from the perspective of someone that is massively into Pokemon and is getting something different out of it from the perspective of a Pokemon fan. Just as, like, if I was to give this to, like, Andy or someone who has no idea about Pokemon, they could come in at, like, a 3 or a 4, and I'd go, if I read it, like I've read other 3 and 4 reviews, and be like, yeah, I get that. Like, that's totally makes sense.
It's an important viewpoint to have, because the fans are in one sense, you could argue that fans of a series are more likely to be favourable when covering those, but at the same time, fans of those series are also more likely to be able to tell when they're being shortchanged, because they've seen everything that series has to offer. You give someone who doesn't care about wrestling the whatever WWE 2K game it was that died in its arse, the one like
20,
I think, and they'll be like, yeah, it's another wrestling game, it's shit as well. You give it to someone who's played every game every year, a big wrestling fan, and they'll say they dropped this one is shite. This one is really good. Sorry, kid just walked in. They dropped the ball with this one. People who know a series inside out are more informed to be able to tell when that series is dropping the ball. So when someone who knows a series well gives a glowing review of something, it's not instantly a case of, oh, well, of course they would say that they love it. It's like, yeah, they do it, and they can tell when it's hitting a high point and when it's not. So
it's like, I gave FIFA 3 stars this year, and people were like, I was like, it was the least inventive one in years, and people were like, oh, well, it's always the same. How can this one be a 4 and this one be a 5 and this one be a 3? It's like, you just don't get it. You don't understand criticism. You don't understand what you're talking about. Fucking shut up. Anyway, I have some questions from the VGC Discord. Dealbreaker J, does the city have plenty of different looking areas, e.g. different biomes like in Arceus, that keep it looking unique and vibrant enough? One of my main concerns is the whole thing being a city and not different enough areas, looks, vibes. So certain biomes do have different weather conditions, not tons of them. Like, you go into one of them that's full of ice Pokemon, and clearly, like, the ice Pokemon have frozen the place over, so it's all icy. They could have went further with that stuff, I think. But there's a few dungeons that I won't talk about that look different, but a lot of the wild zones that you've seen do look fairly similar, but there's a lot of kind of verticality, and some of the wild zones themselves are like a bit of a puzzle. I do think they could have went slightly further than that, but there's stuff in this game that's so clearly being held back because it's a Switch 1 game, that's maybe been a casualty of that. Viva Lahazi says, how is it as an actual JRPG when you measure up against the gameplay of Persona, Trials, Xenoblade, etc.? Is this just for you Pokemon lovers out there? I ask as I've only really played Sword, and I found it to be quite bland in terms of JRPG. What is there to interest me as someone who's never been into Pokemon? I would say go and look at the combat system, if that seems interesting to you. It's like totally different. It's not really JRPG anymore. It's like kind of it's much more action based. It's not a turn based Persona like anymore. It's not massively deep. It's still the 19 types. It's still the type chart that people can recite in their sleep, but it's faster. And I think because of the speed at which you're getting in and out of battles, it keeps it fresher. But I do think you get way more if you're a real Pokemon head. I don't see this as a conversion game. I don't see this as a game that someone who's completely not into the series could get into the series. I always recommend just picking a gen and starting with that. Like, if you start with Scarlet and Violet, because those games are built from a perspective of some people who are playing this will be their first ever Pokemon game. So yeah, I would maybe say that. Jamie H 1224, how dense is the city? My best point of reference is the Yakuza game. More sandbox than open world, but still plenty to do. There's not tons of buildings you can go into and stuff like that. But Lumios is big. Like, there's a lot in there. It justifies itself as being the only setting. So not dense, but there's still a lot in there. And then Kron, can you walk through a day in the life of Jordan Midler during the review period for this game? Other outlets were saying there really wasn't much time to get things finished. Boy, howdy, was there not. I'm not even going to say when I got this game, but it was very close to the bone. And immediately from then, I basically spent 12 hours a day for 5 days, caning through it. Thankfully, I have a very understanding partner who's been with me for a long time and knows that this is the way things go. Sometimes you get a game in and it's like all hands on deck. But yeah, I don't mind doing stuff like that. Like I used to play games that intensely when I wasn't being paid for it. So having to do it now occasionally on the government dime, I'm fine.
I don't mind if these days if it's like, as long as it's a game I care a lot about. Like
so I was having a fucking great time.
Yeah, when if a game comes in close to the bone and it's not one like I'm massively enthusiastic about, it's a struggle getting through it like at speed. But yeah,
quite. Well, thank you for those questions. We have a couple of questions from the normal. Submit your questions. Mr. Dave says, when giving a game a star rating, do you ever think about the impact that score might have? This may have been answered before. Impact in terms of what it would do to like a developer or a publisher, no, because you can't start thinking about that, or you'll really, really soften on all of your reviews. Sometimes I think like the impact I think is like, am I going to get abuse for this?
Yeah, the impact
that never changes my score. I often just think, oh well, this will be a laugh kind of thing. Or when one of the three of us will put a score in the chat, like the other two will go, oh well, enjoy that, like look forward to that kind of thing, but it never changes the score.
No, that's the thing. In terms of impact on developers, I do think about it, but again, like you say, I can't influence it. Like it is, if that was the case, you would just give everything a 5 and say enjoy, lads. But that's just, you can't do that. You have to give an honest.
Cowardly.
At the end of the day, it doesn't benefit anyone. So it doesn't benefit you. The second you start giving games comically high scores because you don't want to offend anyone, people stop reading your reviews. Like they don't trust you anymore. So you need to be like kind of as honest as you can, and that doesn't necessarily mean your score's going to match everyone else's. But I've said this from the start of my career. Like the whole point of this is you find the reviewer whose opinions most often match with yours, and then that's the one who you look forward to their opinion when each new game comes out. You can't just go, oh, well, they gave it a 5 and these guys gave it a 2. One of them's wrong. It's like, well, no, one of them liked it more than the other one. Like, you get it, you decide whether you liked it or not, and then that's the one you go with. And then you see what their next review is, and if you go along with that, then you're obviously more aligned with them, like in terms of what you look for in the game. So that's your outlet, or that's your reviewer going forward. It really doesn't have to be this complicated. And every time a game comes out, and again, like you say, people look at the score, and we've written like 1,500 words above those stars, and they just blank them. Oh, you gave this a 4, but you gave that one a 3. How does that work? It's like, well, read the hang. Like, it tells you why. But yeah,
the audience takes scores a million% more seriously than the reviewer does.
And you can always tell the ones who haven't read it on our site and give us abuse. They always say, why did you give that game a 60? No, we didn't. We gave it 3 stars. You just saw us a Metacritic and came over to give us abuse for it. Like, you didn't even read the thing. Like, it's not our fault.
Shout out again to Kinda Funny, who were, when they were talking about Legends EA, and Tim, he said, oh, he woke up and saw that VGC had given it 100, and he was like, well, VGC doesn't do that. They do stars, and a 5-star isn't 100. And I was like, thank 100%. You. It absolutely is not.
100%. But again, like, a Metacritic serves a great purpose, and it's a great site for gathering reviews and stuff like that. And it's a good at a glance look away, seeing which games are generally reviewing well and which games are generally reviewing less well. It's not a science. Like, they have to do a lot of rounding to get to that score. Mainly, partly due to sites like us. Like, hardly anyone reviews out of 100 anymore. So it doesn't copy over. Like,
Games Master's gone, mate.
Exactly. So our 1, 2, 3, our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 scale is 20, 40, 60, 80, 100. That's just the way it is. We can't do anything about that. We don't write our reviews for Metacritic. We're grateful of them taking our reviews and putting them in their list of kind of aggregate that shows that we're a trusted source among the reviewers that are trusted that can be put on Metacritic. But we don't write with Metacritic in mind either. We don't go, well, this is a 4, but that means 80 on Metacritic. Or when we give a game 3 stars, 3 stars is the big talking point always in it.
Yeah.
Because in our score rating, it's similar to like Empire and other film review sites. A 3 out of 5 is totally fine. like a 3 out of 5 in terms of my pub enthusiasm grade
That's
thing.
good.
It's like if someone says,
fine.
"What's this?" Like, it's good. You like it? It's pretty good. That's the 3 out of 5 for us. Metacritic sees that as a 60, which in review terms you might as well have shat on their bed. If you give a game a 60, you've doomed it to death. But that's not our rating scale. So sorry, we've
don't make us tell you again, for the love of Christ.
We should point outside. We should have a sign behind us on all
Yeah.
these podcasts, just basically saying, "Read the text."
Read the text, you dick. We will be back next week for more joy and frivolity. We'll do our normal Patreon podcast this month. We didn't talk about it on this episode because I didn't want to derail the things, but Chris, your Sega Store Tokyo t-shirt, I will have the opportunity to buy one next year because I've booked my inaugural flights to Japan. So we'll do.
You won't buy one though, will you?
No, probably not.
You just have the opportunity.
Have they got Persona stuff? Because I would take a tipple at some Persona stuff.
Yeah, they've got Persona stuff. They love it. They love a plastic standee in Japan. They bloody love it. I don't get them. I don't get why
the acrylic things. It's like absolute landfill.
And you make them. The only good one I ever got, and I need to remove incriminating business cards from this, but
incriminating.
Well, not incriminating, but it's like good people's personal details in it.
Okay.
But I bought this one at Nintendo World, and it's a very good one.
Oh, see, that's
that holds
fine.
your pens and stuff. It's like
and I suppose that makes sense because they're understood to be on a 2D plane. But I typically don't like them.
But the ones that's just like a character with a wee notch that you just put on a flat base, they're garbage.
Let's be serious. I'm going to spend about $1,000 in the Pokemon centers across Japan, so I shan't be. I don't think I'll be likely to trouble many other places. I want to go to the Square Enix store to see if they have any love dolls of Sephiroth, but failure to procure that.
Just on a tangent, just because we were talking vinyl things, I've promised my friend. I've got a friend from the official Nintendo magazine days called Muzz. And Muzz, they specialize in art. Well, they do amazing artwork, old, like Yoshi's Island style artwork, and they sometimes do these vinyl Yoshi's Island trees. And look at this.
Wow!
Loads of wee vinyl things all kind of hanging. That I approve of, like that kind of vinyl art. I like that. So that's Muzz sent me that.
Do you remember that advert that was like, "These children aren't French, they're British. They're learning French with Muzzy. The children's learning app." Yeah, it was always on Nickelodeon at like 11 at night when they were putting on old Keenan and Kel's and Amanda shows, and it's like, okay, the channel's about to stop broadcasting here. We're really getting to the absolute dregs. It was that and Floam.
I don't remember that. I adored Keenan and Kel. We'll talk in great detail about Japan. I'll give you the tips you need
about Keenan and Kel.
Keenan and Kel. Yeah. I told you I met the dad from Keenan and Kel at a horror festival once, and he spoke exactly like he does in Keenan. You know, in Keenan and Kel, Ken Foray is called who plays the dad in Keenan and Kel, and he speaks so dramatically. And then you think, well, it's a kid show. Of course, he speaks like that, but no, he spoke like that with us as well because he was in Dawn of the Dead as well, like a long time. And I think he was some X-Files as well. So he was at a horror film festival, went to Edinburgh, at the film house, God rest it. And he gave like a talk show, Dawn of the Dead. And then at the back, he went to the bar while they voted on like the final movie of the festival and all that. And me and my brother were shattered. We're like, let's just go. Like the final film we didn't care about, so we were leaving. And as we were leaving, and we saw him in the bar. So I walked into the bar and like, Ken, nice to meet you again, mate. We need to head off. He went, what? You're leaving? So lovely, a lovely man.
There was a real nice era of Scottish Comic Cons for a while there. I met your man Michael Winslow, Police Academy. You couldn't stop him doing all the sound effects.
Very much as the Charles Martinet of the movie industry.
I met your man Todd for Scrubs. He was nice as well. You see it now though. I saw a thing about Scotland Comic Con over the weekend that Hayden Christensen was there, and it was like £700 to meet him or something. Like, fuck off!
Luckily, the thing it was a horror. It was called Dead by Dawn. It was a horror festival we used to go to, and it was basically a 3-day thing at the film house where you paid for your pass and you got like 40 films just in and out and guests come to it. So I met Robert Englund, Freddy Krueger at that. Like, he's a very nice guy. I met Tony Todd, Candyman, God rest him.
God rest him.
Ken Foray, Claudio Simonetti, who did all the music for the the 80s, like the Dawn of the Dead and all the kind of really basic Italian keyboardist did this really weird like set and like so yeah, that was well we'll save that for an off topic, because I appreciate that horror films aren't what people tune in for here, but or indeed they don't tune in at all. It's a podcast.
Yeah, if you're looking for more horror, come back next week to VGC, patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle if you'd like to support us some more. It's a busy time. I don't actually think I'm reviewing anything else for a little while, but we'll always have more.
I've got a couple of plates spinning. We'll talk about them next week, including a game that I absolutely cannot play in front of the child. it's making playing it very difficult. But yeah, wink.
Yeah, one of those good games on Steam that you can't get paid for anymore. As I said, patreon.com/Video Games Chronicle. Say goodbye, Chris.
Goodbye, Chris.
And we'll see you next week.